feels good to beat y'all. Can't beat y'all.
What's up, beautiful people? Welcome back to another episode of Beats Per Minute podcast, where hip hop, health, and heart are in sync. I am your host, Miss Thursday, and through this month, I'll be sitting down and talking to various DJs, MCs, and hip hop lovers from different regions about the 50th anniversary of hip hop, their memories, and contributions to this culture. So, to kick it off, I'm sitting down with a Houston legend and most importantly, one of my brother, DJ Ready Red, dear friends. So without further ado, I would like to introduce to you, representing the great state of Texas from Rap A Lot Records and Too Much Trouble's DJ Black. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. I am so excited to sit down and talk with you. It was like probably back in February or March when Robert first told me that he wanted to connect us, and I had just been waiting for him to let me know whenever he was ready and or you were ready. So I've been looking forward to having this conversation with you for a minute now.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So okay, I'm gonna go back to the beginning, right? Tell me about Houston and what was it like when hip hop first kind of hit, Houston and like what time frame was that? Like what was like, what was that even feeling like, being that you guys were so far removed from like New York and seeing and hearing all that was going on there. So what was it like when hip hop first kind of got started in your area?
Let's see here. I was born in 1970, so
Mm-hmm.
my first introduction to hip hop, in my opinion, was Blowfly Rap Dirty way before Sugar Hill Gang. So I was kind of on that already,
Mm-hmm.
but um, seeing Run DMC
Mm-hmm.
and and mostly Grandmaster Flash and all of
Mm-hmm.
them on TV periodically, sometimes on Soul Train, sometimes you had this little box thing that comes out.
Mm-hmm.
Every so often you might see it and you might not, but we had the whole Michael Jackson and Prince thing, but it was something about that good times with the Sugar Hill Gang and
Yeah.
everybody thought they could break dance and rap at that time. So you had to pick and choose which ones you wanted to do. So you had to be with
Uh,
one of us.
yeah. So what made you, even want to get, like into the whole hip hop culture? Like what even moved you from not being a b-boy or, a rapper, but a DJ? What started that for you?
Well, I can't rap, so
Okay.
I killed that. I I'm not a good break dancer. That hurts. So I had heard the DJing and all, but I've never seen it.
Hmm.
So I saw Jam Master Jay. I think Jam Master Jay was the very first one I seen scratch.
Mm.
But then in my neighborhood on the east side, it was this guy called Burgermeister.
Okay.
And when he was the most closest thing to actually touching or seeing a DJ, him and
Hmm.
another guy you might know. They called him Peter Parker now, but back then they called him Easy C.
Okay.
So when I saw those two guys, I was like, that's what I wanted to do right there. So I want to control what makes you dance. And I was always
Gotcha.
been a lover of music anyway, so I started stealing my aunt's and my mom's records long before it was good to okay to collect them. So
Yeah, yeah.
so yeah, but once I saw Burgermeister actually do it, he the first one
Hmm.
started teaching me how to do it.
Okay. And what age were you at that time?
13.
Okay, so you got bit pretty early.
Yeah, Yeah, I was
Okay.
too small to play football,
Hmm.
and so I had to fix something.
Okay, so you start DJing about 13, right? And
Mhm.
are you, just kind of doing it at home, or do you like venture out and try to start doing it for your friends and doing parties and stuff like that? Like, how did you go from, you know, getting bit to actually wanting to do this as a profession?
See, a lot of guys that was DJing before me was way older than me, so they didn't have the hip hop element to it. They didn't know
Hmm.
how to scratch. They didn't know how to mix. All they did was like more radio stuff. They would
Hmm.
just play the music and talk real loud over the microphone.
Hmm.
So Burgermeister and Easy C, they were from New York.
Hmm.
So learning from them, I brought that element to my age.
Gotcha.
So spending countless years in the house practicing.
Hmm.
I had to be the best. I had to win the battles. I had to win the battles, and from there it just went from DJing for a couple of friends, practice,
Hmm.
DJing, practice, DJing, then it got bigger and bigger and bigger until
Gotcha. Okay. And then how did Too Much Trouble become, a thing? Like, when did that group start? Were you in any groups before that, or how did that kind of transpire?
well, Too Much Trouble was actually called Double Trouble.
Okay.
And I was not in a group, but I had people like DJ before. I had best friends that rap for ever since I was in eighth, ninth grade. You know, we had a little contest here, or we'd be in a talent show. So they used me as their DJ. So I eventually became somebody's DJ. So um, Double Trouble. It was Drunk D, and Ghetto. They were the originals. So
Okay.
they came and found me at a park. Yeah, I was DJing at the park, and they say,
Well,
"Man,
that's the part
we
of
got
it.
we got this little record thing that got finna do something. We need a DJ." So it was,
Hmm.
I don't see why not, and that's how it all started. It was just those two. Then they added me, and then one none came on down the line, which I will explain.
Okay.
But, but by that time, I had already knew your brother. I,
Okay.
so I knew your brother by that time, 4 or 5 years by that time.
Mm.
Yeah, I met him, what was it, 86? Something
Okay.
like that. And we
So you
kind
met
of,
him pretty like almost when he first got there.
yes,
Okay.
I met him, like told you before, I met him at TSU. I was DJing at TSU,
Hmm.
trying to show off. And he kind of talked about my turntables. I said, oh my God, here we go. Here go this guy here with a leather jacket on in Texas with a raccoon hat on that says Grandmaster Ready Red on the back of it. And he put handcuffs on his hand
Hmm.
and started scratching.
Hmm.
From that point on, I didn't leave his side for the rest of the day. For about another 2, 3 years, I didn't leave his side. I was like, nah, you gonna teach me that. You gonna teach me that.
So that was pretty different, seeing that, like, of course, I'm sure he was a fanatic, and really loved and admired, Grandmaster Flash and Grand Wizard Theodore, and so many of the first generation DJs, for and that that's where he kind of learned from and perfected his craft, in Jersey. And so it's funny, seeing like that very stark contrast of what was normal for us to see back home, and then him coming to Houston and like him standing out with his jacket and all that.
like a sore thumb. He stuck out
Yeah.
like a sore, at that time. He stuck out like a sore thumb. But I really, I give my knowledge of it, my knowledge of hip hop, my knowledge of a lot of music and producing and DJing to Ready Red
Mm,
because he made me study. He made me
mm,
study. He made me work hard on certain things that you wouldn't even think about working hard on. It wasn't
wow.
all about the show.
Hmm.
You have to really, really know the skill. You should be able to do the skill with one hand.
Wow.
And he broke it down. I learned pretty much a lot from
That's pretty cool to hear. So going back also, like who were some of the like major players responsible for like really making hip hop like popular in Houston? Like I know I've heard of like K Reno and different people like that, but like back then, like who were like the major players in
him.
Houston at the time?
We really didn't have any. We really
Okay.
didn't have any. The major players, uh, they were all R&B. You had,
Mm,
what's the guy name? Archibald and the Drill and the Dale,
oh.
I think. So you had them, and you had a lot of R&B groups, but then you had Raheem is one of the Raheem the Vigilante is one of the first
Mhm.
ones to put out an album. Not an album,
Mhm.
yeah, an album.
Yeah. Mhm.
You had a lot of guys that would rap over other people's beats and get it played on the radio, but that was more local. So I
Okay.
can't really say they hit until
Mm,
the Ghetto Boys.
gotcha.
Third album. I mean,
Okay.
was it third album or the second album? Second album blew out the roof.
Okay.
So they are the ones that actually opened up more doors than anybody that could have opened up any doors in Houston, Texas, even though we had rappers, but we was rapping in the park. They was battle
Right.
rapping on the side of Timmy Chance. So it was a lot of little bitty local ones, but
Mhm.
nothing, because we didn't have a sound, right?
Gotcha.
Our sound was R&B, more
Mhm.
of can I say it, Bobby Brownish type of R&B,
Mhm.
R&B,
Mhm.
but not until Red. I would have to, if anybody, if we call it dispute me on it, try to
Mhm.
read me on it. We did not have a sound in Houston, Texas until Grand Wizard Ready Red brought his drum machine down here. We didn't
Wow.
have balls in my word became our sound.
Yeah. 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 It's always crazy. Of course, just being his sister, and I don't think it wasn't, until like I got older that I really realized like what his contribution to Southern hip hop really was. Like, because being still up north, we didn't hear and see what was going on, and it just came from him. Like, oh yeah, we're doing this, we're doing that, whatever. But we couldn't physically see it, until later. So being that you were there in Houston, like what did it feel like to like finally have like someone representing Houston, in the hip hop space? And also, I always wondered, like, how did Houston feel about the fact that, like, my brother Red and like Johnny C weren't from there, but did they still feel like they was pretty represented well, like that they, because I always have gotten nothing but love, in his regard since his passing. Like I've received a lot of love from Houston, and I'm super appreciative. But I always wonder, like, what did it feel like in the beginning when they, because he definitely stuck out. Like his accent was heavy. It was no getting around the fact that he wasn't a local.
Um, that's one thing about us, and we're very acceptable down here, and
Yeah.
as long as you bringing something,
Mhm.
you was okay. You was okay. As long as you wasn't just bringing a whole bunch of nonsense or something like that, we would be accepted. You know, and then you come to find out, like a lot of producers out here in the beginning
Mm-hmm.
were all white guys.
Mm.
A lot of people do not know a lot of music that came out of Houston. Those producers were white. They were
Yeah.
not black. So when Red came with the samples and the Thurzday and the Ohio players and stuff like that, and gotta be down and wait a minute, that's now you're talking to me. So
Mm-hmm.
Raheem had what's that? Dance floor. That
Mm-hmm.
was that was produced by a white guy.
Mm-hmm.
So Red really didn't have anything to do with that first A&M album. He really
Right.
didn't. But from that point on, he shaped this. He shaped this. God, they would tell you how did they learn how to produce? Who taught them how to put this stuff together?
Mm.
They would have to say Red. I'm gonna say Red. I
Mm-hmm.
was there. We signed a contract in 1988.
Mm.
So I was there right when that's what's the name of it? Grip It. When Grip It dropped,
Mm-hmm.
we was right there.
Wow. So you really got to see, the really a lot of the beginning, and also the change from when, Box and Johnny C kind of stepped back, and then you have, Willie D and, Scarface coming in, and now Bushwick is actually rapping and not just a dancer. So you got to see like really that beginning change when, you're seeing, the kind of almost like the last fraction of the Ghetto Boys kind of form.
Yeah, the school we went to was more like a man. How do I say this without sounding crazy? It was it wasn't no fame, wasn't fame, but it was more like fame. Even though it was a school in the middle of Third Ward is in kind of in the middle of Houston. But this
Mhm,
particular school we went to, you had a lot of rappers. You had Rob Ski, you had
mhm,
Raheem was there, K Lee was there, K Reno was there, Jukebox was there. You had even Big Mello. All these guys used to come up there and just battle at our school.
mhm.
So to see, I was seeing these guys before they was even famous.
Gotcha.
So so when Box put that out, it was like, well, hell, now we see Box, we see them every other day. So it really
Mhm.
wasn't nothing. So again, to be very honest with you, car freaks wasn't all that. I said it. I did say it.
Oh my gosh. But I know that, a lot of times, even, in our hometown of Trenton, New Jersey, right, we have so many artists that were really dope. You know what I mean? But, when we're looking back, it's like we didn't really appreciate like the creativity and the skill that a lot of the DJs, the MCs, and have like I'm glad that people are really including poor righteous teachers in the conversation more than they used to back then, because even with us being like in the central part of New Jersey, it's like, oh, they're trying to be like Philly, or oh, they're trying to be like New York, because we were in the middle. So it's like you either are on this end or you're on that end, and so a lot of times those guys never got the real recognition they deserved. And we had some really great groups come out of Trenton, but I think sometimes it's just when you are used to seeing people and they're kind of doing something, it's like, yeah, okay.
Yeah. And to be honest with you, we thought everybody was all y'all was from New York. I didn't know New Jersey was a whole different state. Everything growing up, everything come out of that poor righteous teachers, boogie down, all that's just plain up New York. That's how we
Yeah.
thought.
No, Poor Righteous Teachers is from Trenton, New Jersey.
Yeah, we didn't know, but we got taught quick.
Yeah.
We got taught quick, between Johnny C and Red, we got kind of taught quick.
Yeah.
They was quick to point it out.
Hmm.
Real.
Okay. But going back to, like your history, and you guys are now, have formed Too Much Trouble. How did you guys get the nickname the Baby Ghetto Boys, and how did you kind of feel about that?
Well, that was a double-edged sword. Um, for one, it was just three of us at first,
Hmm.
but God rest his soul, Ghetto MC, he had an idea. He had an idea to take a picture with None, the little white one, in Bushwick on one's on the left, one's on the right, standing on the pier, and he just had this way just crazy idea. Uh, it doesn't matter. We doing an album. It don't matter. It don't matter. So whatever on the picture you're talking about, we'll do it.
Hmm.
So we start bringing None to the studio because at first he don't rap. He never rapped a day in his life. I mean,
Hmm.
maybe he's just like a rapper, like something but he wasn't a rapper.
Hmm.
So one day we was at Doug King's. Guess who come in the building? Little J. Hey man, why don't y'all see if little boy Nine can rap, man?
Hmm.
Well, they wrote him a rap. Nah, it sounded all right. Well, that one sound all right, man. Write him another one. Let's see how another one sound. And so the next one, Lil J liked it. He said, "Yeah, yeah, I like that. But
Hmm.
y'all can't be double trouble no more. I want y'all to be called the ex-cons."
Mm.
No, we don't want no. Well, what about the convicts? See, they tried to give us that
Oh,
name
they
just
was always trying to bring the convicts into the play.
right. They said, no, we don't like that. Well, I tell you what, y'all better come up with something before I come up with something. And okay, we came up with too much trouble since it was more than two. So we had
Mhm.
the extra O on it. And then the very next day, we told him too much trouble. Okay, I like that. And we can call y'all the baby ghetto boy. Why? Whoa, 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 whoa. We ain't no babies now. I'm 19 years old. The youngest one is 18. I'm
Mhm.
19 years old. Why would we call the baby ghetto boy? They go read it. Yeah, they ghetto boys, huh? How ghetto is your baby boy? He has so many jokes. Him and Johnny C. Oh, the part from the ghettos of babies. Yeah, they just killed us. But we didn't like it because it shifted how we was making music. So now we're the
Mm.
baby. Now we have to be harder than the ghetto boys. So now
Yeah.
there's a lot more pressure and a lot more, and that's how your brother ended up getting involved with start producing. Because at first Johnny C did it.
Mhm.
Johnny C headed up all the production. Oh, I'm sorry. Rest in peace, Boss. Boss headed up all the production. But then Boss started working on their album with OG style. Then with the Johnny C.
Mhm.
But Johnny C, I don't know what it was, but we just didn't like. I guess we didn't like it, but until he gave it to the convicts and everything that he produced on the convicts album, he made for us first.
Oh wow.
All those beats that's on the convicts album,
That
that
was
was
yours.
that album. And we was like, God damn, why we just didn't take that? You know, so here comes Beto, here comes your brother. He done three, and then they taught me how. That's when he started teaching me how to produce.
Mm.
But how we got the baby ghetto boy's name, Little J. And all because Bushwick, why none?
Yeah, yeah. I always thought that was I was like, oh, well, I guess, but I always wonder how did y'all feel about being called the baby ghetto boys?
Didn't like
Gotcha.
we didn't like it. We never used it. We would always call ourselves. If you listen to that album, we would. It's never mentioned. It's only
Yeah.
mentioned on the album cover. It's
Okay.
never mentioned.
Once you guys got started, I know that the first album is Bringing Hell on Earth, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. How was that, kind of having all the guys on that first track when I was listening to it and I hear, Red doing the intro and then Will and Scarface and Bill all jump in, and kind of say something. What was that like for you guys getting started to kind of have that stamp of approval, if you will, from the Ghetto Boys?
It was like family,
Mm-hmm.
because we was touring with them. We didn't go on a big tours with them, but
Mm-hmm.
anywhere from Louisiana to Mississippi or something like real close, we would go with them. So we created a bond with them.
Mm-hmm.
But the only one we could get actually to rap on there was Scarface on another track. So to get all to get all four of them in the studio at one time, that was a miracle at best. But it felt nice for them to come together and show that we are really really the family, because
Yeah.
we all recorded out of the same big studio, so it would be one session would run into another session, would run into
Mm-hmm.
another session, and run into another session. You'd be there all day. So that
Yeah.
but the hardest part was to get out four of them there one time. Red
I
produced
can,
that. Red produced that track, so he was the first one there.
yeah.
The last one was there was Will. So
Okay. Okay. And, now just kind of coming up to the present, I know that you guys, kind of disbanded after a while, but are you guys still fairly close or how is that, like, being that you're still in the Houston area?
well, like I said, Ghetto passed away. He
Mm-hmm.
passed
Mm-hmm.
away
Okay.
about 5 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
and while none retired, he moved to the country. He stays in the country, and D does his own podcast somewhere around. I forgot the name of his podcast, but he does his own podcast. So we speak periodically when we see each other or something
Mm-hmm.
like that. We keep in touch every so often. We're all family guys now, and
Yeah.
family is more important than anything.
Yeah. 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 That's definitely true. So, how are you feeling, and like, what do you guys have kind of going on in the city to celebrate this 50th year of hip hop, if anything? Like, I know that, um, you know, some, different regions, don't feel like, oh, well, this is the year for us to celebrate. But, do you guys feel the same way in Houston, or, how's that going?
I really don't know. I really don't know because like we should be celebrated, but a lot of us are not mentioned because a
Mm,
lot of us kind of paved the way for the South to be the way it
right.
is right now.
Right.
Because if you say the South back then, you're going to talk about Two Live Crew. You're going to
Mhm,
talk about the Ghetto Boys. Them the only
mhm,
two that you can actually mention besides MC Sade, but he wasn't even from the South.
mm,
He South stuff. So we kind of get overlooked about it, and so only ones that actually do mention is Scarface and the Ghetto Boys or Two Live Crew. So everybody else feels shunned,
mm.
and so they don't, they don't. We don't go on. We don't put tours together to show that our unity out here in the South or anything like that. It's just everyone does their own thing.
Yeah.
So we're not celebrating it. We just enjoy it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and I understand it and I get it, and I really do wish, because I think that, the more that I talk to, you and, Lee Robinson from the Deaf Four, and, different people in different regions, um, you know, there's something missing and not connecting when we don't have the opportunities to hear your stories. You know, your story, along with so many other artists, is what allows us to understand like the history and the origin of how Southern hip hop really came to be. And and when we kind of remove people from the story, when we start from only certain periods or whatever, we don't really realize like the struggle that you guys had, the grind that y'all had, the real grunt work that y'all all had to do, back then, to for us to see how the South is displayed now. And a lot of times when people talk about, the South, they're thinking more about like Atlanta and not what Texas really did to put the southern region on the map. And I think that we have to do better about having these type of conversations so that more and more people can hear your story and understand, like, when it came to even Rap a Lot, you guys were really like a family. So many artists that came to, James Prince and the Rap a Lot family, a lot of y'all really bonded and became, a family, because and y'all were really grinding. So a lot of times, like you said, y'all were just working, a lot, and working, with each other. A lot of people don't even understand when Johnny C moved from the forefront and the Ghetto Boys and left the group as an MC. He stayed with Rap a Lot as a producer, and also the work he did with Swap House, and Tony Draper, and and his role with Big Mike. A lot of people don't know that side and don't know those stories because they're not being told.
No, not at all, not at all. And a lot of people don't even know John C had an album out on Rap Alive. You know,
Exactly.
it Gangsta Nip, Too Much Trouble, Raheem the Vigilante, and Johnny C all got released on the same day, February 2nd, 1992.
Wow.
All the same day. So James Prince is one of the first ones to release multiple albums with multiple people on the same day, way before Master P
Mm,
did it. We talking
mm,
early 90s. So for us to say, okay, we're only going to pick the strongest one out of the whole pack because they all helped each other. When you have so much competition in a whole, I wish I could like visually give you the cipher they used to have,
mm.
how big the cipher used to be, and how competitive that made everybody go back and write better, be better, think better, make better tracks. Come up with different ideas for different songs. Or maybe, hey man, I got this idea for a song. Can you help me out on a couple of lines? We just that's all we did because like you said it before, we was always together.
Yeah.
Always. Yeah, let me see. Def Four of them, they were older than us. So they
Hmm.
by the time Def Four came, I think they had already left with Raw Flush and they came out, yeah, before they were right after or right before Grip It. Yeah, right before
Hmm.
Grip. So
Hmm.
they was older than us, but I knew them from
Hmm.
my neighborhood. They
Mm.
stayed in they stayed
Okay.
on the east side. So they was hanging around with Burgermeister and them, so I knew them before they even got with Rap a Lot. I was
Mm.
so intrigued with how they talked, the the hip hop, the b-boy style of it. I couldn't I had to figure it out.
Got bit. You just got bit.
I got bit. Yeah, I couldn't get enough. And then your brother, Now he made it even worse. He's the first. He's the first one. I hate to keep saying, like first one, because he might not be the first one, but this is the first one I ever seen. He's
Mm-hmm.
the first one that have a TV surround by sound.
Mm.
So what I mean, he had Sherwin Vegas, like 12-inch Sherwin Vegas and amps, all that hooked up to his TV. So you mean, can you tell me was one of his favorite movies? Which one was his favorite movie?
Okay, so which genre are we talking about? Are we talking about kung fu? We talking about sci-fi? Are we talking about black exploitation?
I go Kung Fu. I already know about all them. That's
Well,
that's
we already know.
that's what got me on there. Let's say black exploitation.
Oh my God. Well, he was madly in love with Pam Grier, so he would watch them a lot. But he was definitely into like so many different ones, but like Three the Hard Way. I know that came into play, because of the music, and Mind Playing Tricks. That came from, I believe, that soundtrack, Isaac Hayes. He always loved, like, God, I'm trying to think of his name, the one that Eddie Murphy just had did the movie on Dolomite. Dolomite, and then of course, the Mac and all that.
Oh,
He had all of them.
I cannot sit and tell you how many times he made us watch Dolomite. Before you go to Red, when you go to Red House, okay, well, you got to meet Red at his house at noon. So you better be there by noon. Ain't there by noon, he's gonna be trying to rough you up, talk noise. But he would make you sit down and watch Dolomite. At least we watched
Mhm.
Dolomite at least 14 days straight, every day. There's nothing in my trunk, man. That's what he kept saying. There's nothing in my trunk, man. Okay, we. But yeah, that was the introduction to that, and yeah, well, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, y'all got to go and you know uh, watch the movies with them. I had to pay to when I was little, I had to pay to go into his room and watch a movie or just look at all his Bruce Lee posters and magazines and whatnot. So I a lot of people think I'm joking, but I'm not. he was he was a bully when I was little. As big as he was, I was very, very small. And he's 10 years older than me, and he was for him to be such a big guy, not just tall but a solid guy. He was very light on his feet. He was like that Fred Flintstone. Like whenever Fred would play,
Twinkle
he would be
toes.
playing.
He was
He would be
twinkle
bowling
toes.
and he would be twinkle toes. Like he did the kicks in front of
Oh,
me. Like, and I don't know how he never hit me, but he never did. And he
oh,
would, practice the. Oh God, he was ridiculous, but yeah, he was funny, and he
he was
always had movies going.
he was standing there with that kick pose out behind your head, and you didn't know it. And you turn around, you were gonna run into his foot. He thought that was his fault. And I ain't but 5'5", so he had to kick
Mm.
you. So
But yeah, a lot of people never got to see that side of him and doing, like, he really thought he was like Bruce Leroy.
uh, I tell you what, you didn't, we didn't, nobody mess with Red. No, he wasn't that type of guy. He didn't
Hmm.
give you the vibe. I can't. I mean, we probably would argue about, hey man, we don't like that sample or something like that. But arguing with somebody, anything like that, nah, he wasn't really that type. I mean, I don't know what him and the Ghetto Boys had together because they was together so much and so long. I couldn't tell you about they gripes and beef, but
Yeah.
we
No, it sounded like, one time, after he passed and I spoke with Willie D at that time, he told me a couple funny stories. It seemed like they, really kind of like would have these competitions, like eating competitions and different stuff when they was on the road. That was absolutely ridiculous. But yeah, it sounded like, they definitely had a lot of fun, when they were touring and stuff back then. And
yeah, like I
I
said,
can honestly say, my brother still had mad love for all of them. He was, still in contact with some, even up to his passing, so, you know, and
yeah,
I'm super grateful. Like I can, I'm very close with Box and I'm very close with Johnny C. Of course, I knew Johnny ever since I was little. They used to have a group in Trenton called the Mighty MCs, so I remembered him from back then. So those are my brothers. They check on me often, and we talk a lot. So yeah, and Lee,
yeah,
Lee definitely been a really great you know I can't even just say friend. They really have become family. I feel like when my brother passed, he left me a lot of brothers, to
oh
kind of watch over me.
yeah, without a doubt. I still can. I call him Sensei, you
Hmm.
know, because he took from what I he used to give me so much confidence. Like Black, you're gonna be a good DJ. You just gotta pay attention. This is it.
Hmm.
Pay attention. Pay attention. Pay attention. Pay attention. Black, you're gonna be a good producer. You just gotta pay attention. You just can't do what everybody else do. Don't even do what I do. Don't
Hmm.
even. You see me doing this. This is not what you do. I'm gonna teach you how to put it together, but you have to come up with your own.
Hmm.
And, that, and that's where, at the age of 52 now, that's where I'm at now. I'm on my own. And when
Yeah.
before he passed, I was calling him and checking on him every other month.
Hmm.
As soon as I found out where he was and all that, I was calling him every other month. He knew it.
Hmm.
He knew I was calling. If I was just to say, you say that, you all right, good, all right, I'll holler later. That was it. Wasn't too much. We ain't gonna keep reminiscing on the past.
Yeah.
What happened? I was just calling, checking him, make sure he was okay, because I was gonna get him to um, DJ one of my wedding anniversaries before he passed.
Hmm.
Yeah, I was gonna fly him down here and get him. We was gonna do a old style wedding anniversary, and I
Oh,
talked
that
him
would
into
have been nice.
yeah, and you know,
Yeah. Yeah, it was really kind of crazy because, that Friday, he actually was planning on, him and DJ Mr. Mix are really good friends, and they were coming to Camden. He was Mr. Mix was on a old school tour, and with DJ 360, and they was going to have him come out and surprise the crowd. So it was like in the midst of finding out he passed, he had just told everybody that Wednesday, what he was doing and posted the flyer. And I remember I was messing with him because when I was younger and he was on tour, I wasn't going to school, and so he literally had everybody that was on the tour on the video telling me to get my butt back into school. And
hmm
so one of the groups was Salt and Pepper, and so I was like, make sure you tell him I went back. And he was like, if I get a chance, I definitely will. And so that Friday, once we found out he passed, it was like I was like, oh my God, he's supposed to be doing this come out thing with these guys, and we was able to get a hold of him and let him know. And I think it was like maybe a year or so after he had passed when I actually saw the video when they made the announcement at the concert. So it was like really crazy, like I um can't believe, like, we're almost at 5 years now, because it still seems like yesterday sometimes, and that's why I'm doing this. I want to prevent somebody else, little sister or family member, from being in this position, or being in the position I was at the time. I lost my big brother, and I wasn't prepared for the world losing DJ Ready Red. I wasn't prepared for what that felt like, when it happened, because I had never experience DJ Ready Red the way that I experienced after he passed. And and he kept us very separated from the industry. So it was crazy now that I was talking to these people I only ever heard of, before, and now I'm, getting phone calls, from them. So it was a very, very crazy time and a weird time. And so my goal is, DJing and music was his thing. Nursing is mine, and he pushed me and encouraged me to go after my dream like he went after his. So my way of giving back is by hoping to help the hip hop community to prevent, you know, um, more people in your age group and younger pass away from unnecessary, health issues. So
Hmm.
that's the whole goal for this podcast. It's just to, be able to have this platform for you guys to tell y'all stories, for us to, talk about the different health issues that plague our community, and also just have real open and honest conversations, about grief and about loss, because we've had a lot of it in the hip hop community.
Oh yeah, a lot of it in the hip hop community, especially down here. We just lost Big Pokey not too
Hmm.
a couple of weeks ago. So I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
when you're younger and go back a little bit, it was at one point the rappers don't die,
Hmm.
DJs don't die unless somebody kill them. You don't die. They
Hmm.
don't die over health issues. That just doesn't happen. They're rappers. They're DJs. They just don't die.
Right,
You know,
right.
it's so they don't. We don't take care of ourselves. I didn't take care
Right,
of myself. So
right.
in 2018, I had a triple bypass.
Mm.
So I wasn't taking care of myself, which I do now. But
Hmm.
I try to get everybody to understand that you have to take care of yourself, or you will no longer be here.
Hmm.
Once your body turns against itself, there's
Yeah,
too much you can. There's nothing you can do.
yeah, yeah. And it's really sad because, just, I guess, of course, when the loss is close to you, you really feel it, but then you become hyper aware of other people's loss. And of course, like you said, like, I can remember just being younger and remembering when DJ Scott LaRock, was killed, and like what that felt like. But it was like he was killed, and we,
Hmm.
and then going into Biggie and Tupac and Big L, and then you fast forward, and now we're at a place where we're losing, Bismarck to, complications of stroke, and different people to like these health issues that, as Black and brown people we deal with. But it's sad because, with the first and second, third generation artists, or people that have were in the game but left the game, you still are looked at as like this artist, but you live a normal life and work a normal job. And and sometimes that doesn't coincide with getting good health care, or being able to afford healthcare and living, and so many of these artists have to make a decision to, like, oh well, I'm a with go the, healthcare, and hope I be all right. Or you have so many artists, when they first started, they never thought they was going to make it out of their 20s, so they didn't take care of themselves. They was just living, they was doing whatever they wanted to do, and now the repercussions of that, is catching up to them. So I
Oh
was
yeah,
I was really, really, really happy, to see what, with the Hip Hop Alliance, what they're trying to do. They now also have a fund, to be able to help artists that fall on hard times and stuff like that. So, I really want to push that. I really want to support that, and I hope everybody does because, at the end of the day, when something happens to any of y'all, they're going to play y'all music, but your family's not going to see like any results of that. It makes us feel good, but it doesn't help anything. And so we got to find a better way.
It all starts with knowing your business, knowing what kind of business you're getting into, knowing who you're getting into business with. So if you're going to go get into business with someone that means you, they might say they mean you well, but they don't mean you well whether you make good music or bad music or not. If they don't
Hmm.
mean you well, then it's not going to work out. And they're going to
Right.
lead you to having to try to bear that load by yourself, whether
Hmm.
it's family or your own health, and because life insurance is nowhere near or close to a record contract. Health
Yeah.
insurance is nowhere close to a record contract. Okay, so that we need to change a little bit of that also.
So we want to welcome back to the show, already a Beats Per Minute alumni, DJ Vicious Lee of the Deaf Four. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. What's going on,
Thank you
sis?
for joining the conversation.
What's going on, Tracy?
Oh, what's going on, Lee? How you doing, man?
I'm good, bro. How you?
Man, I'm hanging in here, man, like a whole hangnail. You know what I mean?
I know that's right. Just keep hanging in there, bro. That's all you can do.
I'm gonna try my best, man.
Lee, we were just, talking about, just the health and, and where, where we have been with, taking care of ourselves and different things of that nature. We had a really great conversation, just kind of going back and talking about, how, DJ Black got started and his time
Mhm.
with, his group and dealing with our crazy brother and all of that. And, and how he, y'all grew up, basically y'all were in the same neighborhood and how, y'all have had effect on him, being able to kind of see, the way y'all talk and the way that y'all were and everything.
Oh yeah, Tracy was a young upstart.
Hey, Lee, did you stay on the east side with Senior?
With who?
With Easy Senior, with Burgermeister now?
Not on the east side, but once Def Four formed, Easy C started staying with me.
Oh, yeah. Well, I know C was around a lot with Burger.
Yeah, in the early days. Yeah.
Right in the '80s. That's when I met him.
Mm-hmm. Well, then he must have been about 3 or 4.
Who? Nah, man. I was a teenager.
Okay.
Yeah, you showing your age with that one, bro. Don't do yourself
Hey,
like
hey,
that.
hey, 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 watch it there, young fellow.
You showing your age now, brother.
Remember this Uncle Lee you still talking
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you for tuning in to the Beats Per Minute podcast, where hip hop, health, and matters of the heart are always in sync. You can follow us on Facebook, IG, and TikTok at Beats Per Minute Pod, and on YouTube at Beats Per Minute Podcast. So be safe, be healthy, and stay rocking to the beat, y'all. Appreciate you guys. Thank you
to?
for joining me today.
No
All right.
problem. Thank you.
Hello, little sister. How are you? Very proud of you and your accomplishments. Love you. Take care.